to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
This One's Wife, Smoke and Mirrors. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. As you know, this channel is all about narcissism and psychopathy, and I use This One's Wife to explain much about narcissism because so many people are interested in her. It would be remiss of me not to utilise such golden opportunity. While she's quite boring in herself, the fact is so many people remain interested in her and so much content is produced by her and about her. She really is the gift that keeps on giving to explain aspects of narcissism and also to help people understand why she does as she does. Accordingly, when it comes to This One's Wife, my angle is all about her narcissism and the way that she behaves, the way that it causes her to behave towards other people, the impact it has on those around her. There are plenty of people that talk about This One's Wife. Some have been Janie or Johnny come latelys who have seen the popularity of This One's Wife and have clearly thought, you know what, I'll jump on that bandwagon. There are others who've been talking about her for some time. Some's motivation is driven by the fact that they want to highlight, for instance, elder abuse, which is the case with the Sidley twins. Just recently, as you learned from one of my conversation series with Our Recollections May Vary, her motivation was linked to her experiences vis-a-vis the loss, in inverted commas, of her son to a female narcissist who behaves in a similar way to This One's Wife, and a sensation that exposing This One's Wife and her behaviours needs to be done, and also that she quite simply and honestly enjoys doing so. There are those that like to ridicule her. There are those, including myself, that will make parodies of her. Again, in order to demonstrate the ridiculousness and vacuous nature of her, and also to poke fun at her because of the things that she does, which again are driven by her narcissism. There are some who evidently enjoy very much being part of that particular community, scrutinising new information, sharing it with others, debating it, working out what it might mean, why is this happening, what might happen next. Speculation, but at the end of the day, there are those that find that they derive some degree of interest from that. There are others who really don't like her and like to not only expose her behaviours but also basically stick it to her with some rather ad hominem attacks in relation to her behaviours. Thus, across the whole bandwidth of those commentators about This One's Wife, you'll find a variety of motivations. Naturally, there are those that become somewhat addicted to getting the comments and the likes, the fact that people respond to them, that they have got a standing within the so-called Megxit community, makes them feel involved, and there is the effect of a release of dopamine each time they see the views rack up on one of their videos. For others, there'll also be a monetary driver. We've seen this in numerous instances with certain channels in particular that come out with utter horseshit about This One's Wife in order to drive views so they can simply make money. Certain channels that utilise artificial intelligence not only to write the piece but to narrate the piece, and other certain commentators who make things up just in order to cause people to go to their channel and talk about it. As I say, a wide range of motivations. There are also those that see that there is something more sinister to the behaviour of Harry and This One's Wife, that they see that their machinations belie something which is more dangerous. That it might be, for instance, almost fraudulent conduct in relation to the use of expenses and money that has been received. For others, they're viewed as potential puppets of the World Economic Forum. Others see them as sustaining an attack on free speech. Others see them as being manipulated to suit the agendas of others. And there are certain commentators that dedicate particular investigative skills and time and effort to unearth such information. In some instances, it's very clear that they unearth genuine and useful information. In others, it's a little more speculative. But either way, like anybody else, they're entitled to their view. It is perhaps this latter category of the potentially dangerous aspect of the Sussexes which would encourage the greatest scrutiny. I know many of you become frustrated that the mainstream media hasn't exposed this one's wife and Harry for their behaviours, and I've explained elsewhere why that is. On one level, it's all jolly good fun poking fun at this one's wife, taking the piss out of her and exposing yet another fashion disaster, another instance of the grip of doom, engaging in its usual activity of staring down the camera lens, all of the behaviours that have been seen before and will be seen again, and thus showing and taking apart the latest faux royal tour. But there are instances where serious questions are raised about their behaviours and how those impact upon people. This has been demonstrated again by The Hill, commenting on the recent Colombia tour. The authors Mark Toth and Jonathan Sweet highlight once again the potential danger of the activity of this one's wife and Harry by explaining, here they go again. The Duke and Duchess of Sussex indulged in a splashy faux royal tour, and did so while King Charles III and his family were on holiday, annual summer holiday at the Balmoral Castle in Scotland. Their 4-day holiday in Colombia might have served the business and public relations interests of the Monty Shitshow couple well, but it risked doing great disservice to the foreign policy of the United Kingdom and, by extension, that of the national security of the United States. Official royal tours, like US presidential visits abroad, are intended to advance the foreign policy interests of the United Kingdom. Beyond high-level meetings and glitzy receptions, these high-stake diplomatic undertakings are measured by the bilateral nation-to-nation deliverables expected of them and of their lasting positive impact. Harry and this one's wife could not deliver that. Other than D-list celebrity, the oft-whinging duo had nothing to offer Bogota long-term. Photo ops, media hype, and sugary goodwill are fleeting. Absent white-held purpose and oversight, there is little to be gained by either Colombia or the United Kingdom. Sussex Inc., however, arguably had a lot to gain, and therein lies the rub. Not-so-private worldwide tours masquerading as royal tours are undoubtedly valuable from a business branding and marketing standpoint. Cashing in on faux statecraft really should be beyond the pale for the son and daughter-in-law of the reigning King of England and head of the Commonwealth of Nations. Harry especially knows better. His grandmother, the late Queen Elizabeth II, set the global gold standard for duty, country and public service. The trip was justified as part of an effort by Harry and this one's wife to promote mental health and safeguard young people from online harm. Laudable on the surface, until you consider the track records of the two delivering the messaging. In many minds, the Duke and Duchess are the multimedia standard bearers of familial bullying, including Harry crassly weaponising now 9-year-old Princess Charlotte in his memoir Spare, in a likely effort to publicly embarrass and humiliate her parents, the now Prince and Princess of Wales. It was, therefore, not without irony when Harry claimed in Colombia, the spread of false information via AI and social media means we are no longer debating facts. Queen Elizabeth, after all, had sharply sent that same message to Harry and this one's wife, rebuking their claims of royal racism by releasing a statement in response that, recollections may vary. Ill-suited or not as messengers, the timing of their faux royal tour was suspect. The royal family for decades, as was Queen Elizabeth's custom, vacations as a private family at Balmoral in August. It begs the question whether their trip was about serving Colombia's interests or embarrassing Harry's family. Harry and this one's wife's decision to travel to Colombia in August was likely purposeful messaging to a cancer-stricken King Charles and Queen Camilla. The Netflix double act still have no intention of playing by family rules or adhering to Queen Elizabeth's edict that they cannot be half in and half out. It is hypocritical too. Harry's public excuse is that he is unwilling to travel to the United Kingdom as a family due to security fears, and yet they are self-servingly touring one of the most crime-ridden countries in the world. Now was not the time for Harry and this one's wife to be seen playing the worldwide privacy tour games in Colombia. The country is still struggling to emerge from an ongoing 60-plus years of guerrilla war and overcome the societal damage caused by drug cartels. Colombia is in dire need of more than smoke and mirrors statecraft from a Monty shitshow for profit brand-orientated couple, especially as the South American country now finds itself a fragile crossroads about how to best move forward as a democratic nation. Human security for the first time is taking centre stage in Colombia. President Gustavo Petro is aiming to manoeuvre Bogotá away from reliance on the country's past and overt militaristic approach to Colombia's devastating high crime rates, drug lords and economic disparity, and instead address their root causes. Colombia is central to US national security. President Biden rightly told Petro at the White House in 2023 that Colombia is the key to the hemisphere. Earlier in March, General Laura Richardson, commander of US Southern Command, noted Colombia's mill-to-mill importance to the United States as Washington pushes back against Russian and Chinese machinations in Cuba, Nicaragua and Venezuela. Son Downing Street advice, Harry and this one's wife were naively playing checkers in a dangerous world of superpower 3D chess. Vexingly, this is par for the course. They did it in Nigeria. They did it in Jamaica. Their Netflix series and its labelling of the 56-member Commonwealth of Nations as Empire 2.0 unwittingly played into the hands of Russian and Chinese disinformation in sub-Saharan Africa. Selling luxury jams, dog biscuits and hosting a cooking show are all perfectly fine under the guise of this one's wife's American Riviera Orchard brand. But using countries such as Colombia as marketing backdrops and as tools to upstage royal families is decidedly not fine, especially given the far-reaching and ongoing global implications to UK and US national security. Once upon a time before Hollywood, Harry could have continued to suitably champion global statecraft. No longer. He and this one's wife chose freedom and dollars over royal duty. Now it is high time they cease their smoke and mirrors act and permanently exit the global stage of statecraft. Colombia has real substantive needs, and Sussex Inc. cannot even begin to substantively deliver them. A fairly heavy but notable observation about the way that this one's wife's crass self-absorption in looking to promote herself in going to these countries impacts on statecraft, and how she simply isn't up to the job, how Harry isn't up to the job, and how these two playing at faux royals create behind-the-scenes political problems. Do they care? Of course they do not. But it demonstrates once again another angle to the behaviour of this one's wife generated by her narcissism, which has repercussions, serious repercussions, on a state-to-state basis. I'm H.G. Tudor. Thank you for listening.